TheBigHeadsMedia.com for more great podcasts.
Welcome to Dig on America, where we speak truth to power. Every week, we give you the dig on how American history, policies, and media created the social and political issues we face today. DOA is independent media supported by listeners, but they'll tell you we're just fake news, deep state propaganda, funded by George Soros, the Clinton Foundation, BLM Marxists, and...
Whoa, and a big booming boom. Napoleon Dynamite?
RoboCop. Detroit's home.
That's very interesting. Welcome everybody to Dig on America. I am Jason Dutch. That fellow right there is Michelangelo Feminier. And we are here again. So thank you for joining the live stream. We're going to get started with the show. So, Mikey, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. I'm waking up from a pizza nap, which is one of my favorite kinds of naps. Like, there's food naps in general, but pizza naps are special.
Why is the pizza nap so special? Tell us.
I feel like I get a better rest when I have the pizza nap.
Oh, that's very nice. I just was double checking something to make sure I had that there, and I'm good and rock and rolling, ready to go. So hello, Jenna. Hello, all the listeners tuning into the show. Let's get right to it, shall we? With us today, we have a special guest. He is running for the Ohio State Senate, and his name is the illustrious Josh Garcia. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Yes, thanks, you guys. Appreciate it, and it should be a good show.
Well, we will find out very shortly now, won't we? All right. So, Josh, here's what we do. We want to find out why you're running for Congress and all that good jazz, and we find out what issues you stand for, and then, we'll talk about a couple of things. But before we do that, we have to talk about things that are far more important to the world. And we do that by starting out and calling an audible, which kind of isn't an audible because the game just started. But
yeah,
I'm going to do that. It's called 22-16. Deshaun Watson probably going to New Orleans. Said, "Hut." This is called 4 down territory. We will ask you 4 questions. You will give us 4 answers.
Okay.
And we'll go from there. So I'll let Mikey ask the first question of the day, sir.
Josh, do you play any video games?
Yes, I do. I do the Call of Duty. I used to do the Fortnite, but that completely changed as the game progressed.
Oh my God,
those kids are insane.
Here's what happened.
I want to hear it.
The Fortnite was great back when we started playing it back in 2018, but then Call of Duty Warzone came in, so we ventured off into that, and I play maybe like 2 or 3 times a month, nothing like my buddies play every weekend and every day. But when we would try to go back to Fortnite like 2 years later, it's way too advanced now. I can't keep up with these kids. Like they're building things that are way beyond my capabilities.
You're not touching a 13-year-old on Adderall.
Oh,
he will smoke your boots.
My 7-year-old started playing Fortnite about a month ago, and he's good now. Right. So he's getting invites to play. And my daughter, who's 16, and as most 16-year-olds are, foul-mouthed, she gets on there one day. He's like, I want you to play this with me. So she's on there, and she gets on there. She's on there with my son. Again, my son is 7, right? So we give him rules, and like we know, no getting out your name, and we try to make sure that he doesn't get involved with bad people, of course. But she goes just like this. She puts on the headset. She starts playing. She turns around because we're at the kitchen table, and she kind of gives us this look. She's like, "Oh my God, they're so dirty!" She's like, "When I was playing 6 months ago, it wasn't like this."
Yeah,
she's like, "They're just such foul-mouthed little assholes." And I'm like, if my 16-year-old thinks it's bad, it's got to be real bad. So I gave him a PS4 3 days ago because we finally got a PS5 for my daughter, finally. And so I got him playing Spider-Man now, which is far more G-rated.
G-rated.
Yeah, playing the Miles Morales Spider-Man. All right, so you're a gamer. All right, so let's find out what other pop
I
culture.
wasn't done with my question, Dutch. As you
you asked
your own ass.
Oh,
in there. Get the
so
hell out of here!
You're taking a 2-part question now. I see how it is.
He,
Go right ahead.
He elaborated, and I allowed him to do so because he's the guest. You stay out. This is my question. What is the hardest boss you've ever fought
in a video game? Oh, we're definitely going to have to go to, it's either Donkey Kong or Mario. It's got to be Donkey Kong. Or the one we were on at the end there, where you're on the boat. That was pretty tough. And there was another game, I don't remember the name of it, but my dad would play it. I could get past literally the first map. Then the second map was like a vampire. You had this weird chain, and you could hang on the concrete walls and stuff like that. But yeah, maybe it was. It had a weird, creepy.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, Castlevania is mad hard. Like it is one of the hardest games ever.
Yeah, so it's got that weird dark beginning where you walk like outside and you go inside.
What a terrible night for a curse.
So
then the zombies come out.
But you see, this is going to happen as this younger candidates come about running for office. A lot of us have played video games. A lot of us either have tattoos or been involved in in many other things. Whereas before, your politicians were in nice suits and came from the Harvards and the Princetons. Where I'm a trade school kid and I did go to college, but at the same time, I've got the street smart / political savviness.
What were you doing in 7th grade, Josh? Well, I was a member of the Vice Lords.
well, I was probably driving my mom nuts because I did soccer, swimming, baseball, basketball, golf. I did about every sport you could think of. Okay. And I literally went from my freshman year weighing about 160 pounds as a nice size catcher, basketball player, golfer. And then I was like, I'm just going to play golf and football. And then by my senior year, I weighed 320 pounds, and I'm one of the strongest people on the defensive line. So I went through a whole transition period, and especially right now, drama going on here in Cleveland, getting off the top of political stuff. But there's nothing more politically dramatized than Cleveland sports.
Great. Well, I have the next question for you then. If it were up to you, do you take Deshaun Watson over Baker Mayfield? And you have to put into it the fact that you have to give up a lot of assets to get Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
And the political baggage. So what are your thoughts?
Political baggage. I think Cleveland fans kind of, whether it's been in the past, they've kind of forgotten those things, but that's a huge issue right now. And I really just think it adds more drama. If you look at their stats, comparable, they're very comparable, like exactly the same across the board. And it's not really anything different. The only difference is I like Baker because he can, even though he was hurt, he was still trying to play. He was that guy. And I've always said this, in the NFL, you just make it to the playoffs. I mean, didn't Jimmy G only throw one touchdown pass, in the playoffs? And I mean, Joe Flacco has some of the best stats, and Eli Manning, and they both have Super Bowls, but they're literally not a top tier quarterback. So right. I really think the Browns, to get rid of those amount of assets to get Deshaun, unless they see a substantial upgrade, which I don't see it. I really just thought last year Jarvis Landry looked hurt. I went to several games, the 2 games after Baker got hurt. He shouldn't have played 3 or 4 games there. That was on the coach. And I think a little bit of coaching got in the way last year and a little bit of ego of Baker. So I think coaching and Baker's at fault for that mess that we're having now.
All right. So hold on a second here. We have a guest on the show, the old host of the old show, TJ John Stone. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy? How you guys doing?
We're doing good,
fellas. Good evening.
We're doing real good, man. Welcome back. So when Haas joins in a bit,
the king of the north,
he'll be happy. But But we'll so we're going to put you on the spot. We've been playing our little game with Josh, who's running for Congress. I'm sorry,
State
for
Senate.
State Senate. I'm so used to Congress runners here.
State Congress.
Running for State Senate. So we're going to let you ask him any question you want, to get to know him in a pop culturally way. So if you've just met him at a bar and you want to ask him anything pop culture related.
Red or blue pill?
Red or blue pill?
That's a Matrix reference for you there.
You like that?
Are you familiar with the with the Matrix? Okay.
I've watched the Matrix, but I don't remember the red and blue pill.
Okay,
part.
so the concept. Well, TJ will explain it. He's not voting for you now. TJ, explain to him the concept behind red pill, blue pill.
So the concept behind the red pill, blue pill is in the Matrix. The Matrix is a computer simulation that we find ourselves stuck in. The computers, the machine world, if you will, has put us into this situation where we're just living batteries. And the red pill means that you stay in the simulation. They put you up in the simulation and you just keep living the life that they give you. And the blue pill is when you wake up and experience the real world. So do we continue on the same path of the status quo, looking at the world the way it is, the prism that we look at it through, looking at the acts of Congress and the acts of the Senate and the acts of the judiciary system the way that we do? Or do we take the blue pill, come back to the real world and understand that the system as we know it is broken? The system as we understand it is flawed. And the system as we understand it needs fresh blood, new blood to come in and interject and kind of right this ship, if you will.
Oh, I definitely agree. And it's why I'm running. And it's especially if you're noticing we're in a world political view right now and a world economic, and it's really showing. And I don't think Putin or even China watching now realize, and even for us as United States, it's going to be very hard pressed for any country to go to war now. I mean, you can see the companies, any kind of money situation. I mean, if the world companies are coming together and saying, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. And it's because it's a world economy, because one system cracks, it all fails. And we as being a Democrat and future Republicans, we've got to realize that we've got to change the way things are ran, or we're going to be in some serious trouble. And I always go back to our framers. I mean, they came from different parts of the country. Some were schooled overseas, some were schooled in the States, some were farmers, business people. And they created the greatest document we know today, and that's the Constitution. And if we can't get back to
that's the Bible, sir.
Yeah. If we can't get back to getting to the table and having discussions and fixing the system, like one big thing, you shouldn't be a lobbyist after you serve in Congress or Senate. You shouldn't be allowed to be involved in that. You shouldn't be allowed to be investing in stock markets. That's And as crazy as it sounds, we've lost the trust of the people. And I support term limits. I support ending lifetime pensions. So these are things where people now have lost the trust of the politician, and it really shows. And it's why the Republican Party is a mess, and it's why the Democratic Party split, is because people are confused. And even here where I live in the city of Lorraine, I mean, we have voter turnouts in some wards at like 20%.
Really?
And that is because it's either a turnoff because it's the same old cycle of politicians, or they're just not interested. And I've been able to work on some pretty high profile campaigns. I was the director of outreach for Shannon Fresh Hour against Jim Jordan, so I got to experience that. During COVID 2020, I was one of the very few field offices opened in Ohio, and orchestrated phone calls, and it was a very different world. I had to have college kids across the country calling. But, I'm really running on a policy that is really attacking the middle class. And me being Hispanic myself, I understand the minority communities are being affected. And the one thing I really want to focus on is education and making financial literacy a core curriculum. It's highly important. It should start from 6th grade to 12th grade every year. So they know how checking accounts work, how to file their taxes. And these are things that are not taught. And if we are so-called a capitalist country and a business-minded country, as you know, most of our political people will say, then why don't we educate our kids that way? And
Amen, Josh.
And probably Dutch has heard me talk about it. You know, one of my big legislative ideas, and I've got about 40 candidates across the country supporting it right now. Anybody from the state level to federal level. What I want to do, it's called OT40. It's overtime protection, where you'll no longer tax anybody's overtime pay. You won't be pushing another tax bracket, and we eliminate any of your bonus checks up to $10,000 from being taxed. And that is to incentivize the worker. We've got a lot of companies, whether it's a union factory or a non-union, where people have taken buyouts or retired early during the COVID the past 2 years. But now no one's wanting to go hire new employees. We can't hire new employees because no one wants to apply for those jobs. So we've got a lot of people working 50, 60, 70 hours. And until we start incentivizing the worker, and especially on the Democratic side, I mean, I don't know how anybody debates me on it. I mean, this is a message, and it's been actually quite remarkable to be in these Twitter chat rooms and to have like congressional candidates or well-established candidates that are running for their first seat contact me wanting to know what's this OT40, and it's a message to help people to be able to keep their pay. I mean, look at the nurses right now working 60, 70 hours.
Yes.
And that's more money in their pocket. That's and right. This will help the infrastructure bill as trade starts to pick up in the world, like where we're working on bridges, whether there's welding, construction. These are all jobs that are a substantial amount of hours, you know, and people know. I don't have to educate people. You know what you make at the 40th hour. You know what you make at the 50th hour. You know what you make at the 60th, and you know how you're taxed. And those are one thing I want to eliminate it. And then also with OT40, we want to protect your 401ks. We don't believe after you withdraw after 65, a 401k should not be taxed at all at any level. That is your money that you've put together. That is your money that you've risked or tried to save. So basically, the platform I'm trying to run on is a middle-class first mindset at the same time at the educational level, educating our kids on financial literacy. And until that happens, we're going to be in a tough spot. So I know this overtime protection is kind of a new thing, kind of changes. It'll definitely change some labor laws, but that has to happen. And that's one way to build the trust back with the working class.
Amen, Josh. You know, I think that's incredible. You know, my brother and I were just speaking the other day on how we feel as if the middle class is the one class that's just kind of left out there to fend for themselves, right? If you're lower class, you know, you're getting government assistance, you're getting subsidized housing assistance, everything of that nature. You're getting living credits, you're getting food voucher, you know, food stamps, whatever you want to call it. And obviously, if you're in the upper class, you're not concerned about that anyways. You're good. So it's the middle class that truly doesn't have enough to save, but makes too much to be considered eligible for help. So I think it's important that you find ways to boost the middle class and not make it so not detrimental. Detrimental may not be the word, but make it so
regressive.
Thank you. That's a great word, great term. Regressive for the middle class to be middle class. Like, so for instance, I don't have a desire to be upper class. I like where I'm at. The only problem with that is that it's just enough to get by. It's not enough to get ahead of the game. It's just too much to stay below it. It's just enough to get by. So you're not really in a position where you're saving. And, you know, we like to, and obviously you being a minority, you understand, we like to talk about things like generational wealth. We like to talk about things like continuing to pay it forward and setting things up for our children and our children's children, and being in a middle class situation with the current infrastructure that we have in place, it's not really feasible. So Josh, I appreciate you looking to find a way to boost the middle class and allow them to be one that is kind of focused on for the time, because truth be told, for the last 20, 30, 40 years, they haven't been.
And you got to think this too. And I remember in school, and maybe you guys remember, it was like you go to college or you're nothing, and it shows how much money you're going to make, and you're going to make this much more money than this person. And what we did is we destroyed our working base. And we are now almost 2 generations heading into a 3rd generation behind, backing off trade schools when we should be pushing that. Now, when I was in college, we had 3 professors come in to speak. One was from Harvard, and I don't remember the 2 other universities, but they were speaking on jobs and why there's a shortage in nurses, why there's a shortage in CDL drivers. And basically, when I name the job, now I'm gonna ask you guys a question. So when I name the job, You give me, so you give me the race and sex that comes to mind, and don't be afraid to express whether you've got it from watching movies, or just how you're growing up. So when
Cancel
you think
culture. Cancel culture's coming.
We don't do scared here.
Okay,
No.
so
that's not.
So when you think of a nurse, what do you think of? What race and sex?
Hispanic woman.
Hispanic woman. Yeah.
Okay, so basically it's
or Asian woman,
or it's a woman's job. It's not for a male.
Yep.
So So I'll explain what we do after we get asked more questions. So when you think of a CDL driver, who do you think of?
Think of a male.
My America.
Yeah, or
some Eastern Bloc dude.
Yeah. So once again, it's a male's job. When you think of electrician and plumber,
male's job. Yeah.
Male's job. So what has happened is, or taxi driver, which a lot of people say, an Arab or things like that. But now that it's changed with
the Ubers and the
Ubers and Lyfts of the world, ride shares has changed. But what's crazy about that is, I want to create a program here within the state, and I think we could get some federal help too, where you find the African American CDL driver, female, male. You find the Hispanic male driver, and they go speak to the school. You find the male nurse to tell the other males that it's okay to be a nurse. Like, there's a career in this. And these kids don't know that, so they're just going through that college is the only way. And some schools are trying to revamp their trades, so we're already behind in that avenue. And we're not preparing for the future. So college isn't the only route, and that has to be stated. And that's why me running for this office, I have my technical degree in horticulture and was focused on sports, turf, and park maintenance, and also my first year was working in greenhouses. So when we get into the possibility of legalization of marijuana, I understand how to work in those greenhouses. I understand how to get on mowing equipment. There's tons of jobs that, for an emergency, I can go do yard work or, mulch yard and all those things that I learned. And, a trade is very important, but also, like I said, financial literacy is I think it's the most important thing coming out of the educational system that is not in. And if the educational system was designed for the 1950s and 60s, that is a racially, in some way, they're going to only teach what they feel like they need to teach. And why would you teach financial literacy? A dumber society is a better society to a corporate America and a more of an elitist mindset. So we've got so many kids graduating that just don't, when they hit the streets, they have no idea how to do anything financially.
Yeah. Well, now you have taken the most time ever on the third question. So I will just give you a quick one here. You can be, because you still have one more question. You can be Batman or Captain America. Who do you pick?
Oh, it's Batman all day long. All day long. Let me tell you why. Batman.
You were doing so good on the last question, and then this question.
Who the hell wants to be Captain America? He's a fucking nerd. I want a Ferrari.
I want to say.
Mikey, watch your mouth.
Don't
be that guy. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
I want the Boy Scout. Do I want the Audi R8, or do I want to? I don't know.
Are we talking
my shield for 45 minutes?
Pre-Civil War Captain America or post-Civil War? Because post-Civil War Captain America was a beast.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Fighting bad guys, but who wants to fight a bad guy for their entire existence? No, you gotta.
Are we Tim Burton Batman, or are we?
Isn't that Batman's whole shtick? He's been fighting since he was 30. Come on, bro, stop it.
He works hard and he plays hard.
Come on,
I'm not really impressed with the new Batman movie. By the way, I thought it was.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, all right, Josh. It's been nice having you on the show. We'll talk to you.
It was suddenly out of time.
There wasn't. I felt like there was. I know they're trying to set the storyline, and I'm sure the second movie will be like the original Batman with.
Wait, hold on a second. Big Haas.
Holy!
I don't know what happened.
Big Haas has just joined the show, and he sees
John Stone's in the house. Holy, the velvet voice.
Bro, what's good?
Man, I'm sorry, Josh.
Good.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Josh.
Do your thing, man.
What's
We're
good?
in the presence of greatness right now.
Shut up.
The original founder of the show is back.
Chisel in the
shut
house.
up. What's
Wow.
The king in the north.
good?
Haas got onto
the
the. For those of you listening on the audio, Haas joined the show as normal at his normal time, and he just looked around. He's like, "What the fuck? What's TJ doing here?" I don't think you guys have been on a show together in a while.
We had to hit the black guy quota, and
I
they weren't.
am
Yes.
happy to see you, brother.
It's good to be seeing my brother.
Man,
Good to see you
man,
guys.
how you doing? How's well? All right. We can't do all that.
We'll do that later. We'll do it later.
All right, so Josh picks. All right, so Josh, real quick, let's jump into your campaign real quick here. You talked about the OT40. One of the things we'll probably touch on like 3 topics and on your campaign if you don't mind, and then we'll kind of move on to other stuff. The one that I want to touch on the most, one of the things that we talked about on Twitter, is when you go to when someone confronts you about what's being taught in schools and like, shouldn't we have control over our education, parents' choice, CRT, these types of things. What is your answer to that?
I think it's just a dramatized smokescreen. I mean, if you ask anybody in the educational system right now, there is no, we don't teach history correctly to begin with. Like, we don't teach about, you know what I mean? Coming from a Hispanic or, especially, any minority point of view, a lot of our history stuff doesn't talk about other people's cultures. It'll just talk about slavery, but it doesn't talk about the successful African Americans that have come through our country. And there's not enough of that. So what is happening is there's a culture divide between the Democrat and Republican Party, and these teachers are younger now. So you got to think there's teachers like me at 33 that are either getting in the educational system and they're going to start teaching, broader topics. And the old guard just does not like that. And it's something that has to happen. And like I said, and here's what's crazy is, like I said, Putin and, China watching, like I said, this is a worldview. We have celebrities, all the celebrities, famous ones are coming from China, whether it's coming from Jan, whether it's the singers or the sports athlete. And it's so broad. It's just not in sports. It's in, every sport, and it's in every artist, and famous politicians are now going viral. And I mean, look at Ukraine's president. I mean, he's literally in a T-shirt today, streaming live in Congress. What other president's just in a T-shirt dressed down explaining those issues? So we're heading into a different part. Like me, I'm not dressed up in some suit. Like, I'm dressed down. Typically, if I go to a political function, I'm going to be in some kind of comfortable polo and khaki pants. Nobody wants to see you in a suit and tie. But when the educational system, all this being started by the Republicans, this is just they're not liking the change of teachers. It's going to change. It's naturally going to change. And right now, what you're seeing is the effects of the old guard and the younger generation really butting heads. And in both parties, it's happening. So when it comes to educational system, we just need to advance in teaching more about cultural history and where people come from, and really teaching, Christopher Columbus wasn't the first one to come here to America. So,
that guy.
So Josh, what I mean?
And he also didn't
saying that.
He also didn't come here and start praying, immediately, and like the shining light of the Lord beamed upon him, and all the natives came over and said, "Welcome, oh gringo."
I actually, my sister just did our genealogy thing. I actually have 20% indigenous American in me. So it's that was very interesting. So
there you go. So then, do you feel like they should stop teaching about slavery in schools? Do you feel like we should have Black History Month?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there should be Black History Month, but slavery, I mean, it's important to understand everything that's going on. But like I said, but what's missing from that are the success. All you think of is we were just slaves. We were just slaves. I mean, that's basically, it's all in the books. That's, I mean, and it's important to understand history, because I'm a big history buff. If you don't understand history, you don't understand the past. But when you keep minority people out of our history books, and an African American or Hispanic like myself doesn't see successful people, and there has been through this country and prior to our country, and they don't see that, then it's a constant, it's like it's only been a white president. It's only been this, and it's only been that. And I was special enough to really see Obama. Like, I'll never forget this. And even as polarized as Trump was, and I was working with the young kids, for Biden and, getting them involved. I don't think we'll ever see anything like, at least in my lifetime, once in a generation. I mean, I was literally a freshman on college campus, and Obama's really talking, like, to hear someone speak so well and to be able to garner all these college kids. And we knocked on doors. And at the time I lived in Southern Indiana, my mom left here at the Ford plant when I was 10. And to see a state of Indiana turn blue and the congressional district turn blue and all these things happen, it was a special moment. And those are moments that need to be shared, because there has been other special moments in the past, but we don't teach that in our educational system, and it needs to be completely restructured. And it's just not about what famous white person it did. There are a lot of successful African Americans and Hispanics in our history that is not taught at all, and we all know that. We've all been through the system. So
Right.
Yeah.
I would tend to agree with you, except I come from a slightly different camp, but not for very, very different reasons. I do believe that we need to get rid of Black History Month, and here's why. African American history is American history. We don't need 28 days out of the year to focus on African American history, when the truth of the matter is African American history is American history that should be taught year round. We didn't just do things in the month of February. We didn't just do things in the month of March or January. We've done things throughout the course of the entire year. So to relegate my history, to relegate my genealogy, if you will, to 28 days out of 365 days is really insulting, to be honest with you. And obviously that's something that it did not resonate with me until I was, an adult, that it really isn't. One, it's the shortest month in the year. And then two, it's not enough time. Even if you were to give us 3 months, it's not enough time. The fact of the matter is African American history is American history. It does not change the fact that that's something that needs to be studied 365 days a year, and not just when it's convenient or when it's popular or when everybody thinks that this is the right time to discuss it. This needs to be a conversation that's had year round. So while I'm for removing Black History Month, I'm not for removing Black history from the conversation.
Now, don't forget the generosity of white people. We give you an extra day every 4 years. You get that 29th day in February. I mean,
this is true. I don't know what I would do
just
without
be
that extra day.
thankful for what
That's been
they
good
give
to
you.
us. He beat us on Monday. He beat us on Tuesday. Or is that Wednesday?
Big Haas, do you have a platform question you'd like to, about one of his platform issues you'd like to ask Josh about?
Yeah, I do.
Hi, Big
So-
Haas.
I was wondering if you felt like teachers' salaries should be upgraded, like nationally or in your state. Is that something that you would advocate for?
Oh, definitely.
For teachers' increased wages for the service that they provide to us.
Are you talking like about a federal minimum wage for?
Oh, or at
teachers
least
like that?
even in the state, would you do something? And would you want to put something forth in your state to do that? To really pay teachers what they're worth and what they, I mean, I'm the grandson of teachers on both sides of my family, so I've sat in classrooms and I've seen my grandmothers take money out of their own pockets to buy supplies for kids and things of that nature. And so I as an educational ally, I was just wondering what your stance was on that, because some people say teachers get paid enough.
Yeah, and they get 3 whole months off a year.
Yeah, which they don't really get off, but that's a whole thing.
Yeah. So I'm actually in where, of course, we'll put it out as the month goes on, but I'm actually asking for a $5,000 increase to teacher salaries in the state of Ohio. Like I said, I've been involved in politics for a long time. I'm 33 now. At 19, I completely annoyed my mother. I was in her tea shop. I called all 50 states asking to talk to their state superintendent, because at the time it was the No Child Left Behind. but there were schools cutting out business math programs. They were cutting out trade schools. They were cutting out arts. And I would call them, and only one superintendent called me back, and I forget his name, was from Florida. And he said, my assistant said you're pretty well versed. And I said, yeah. And I was like, so I had a whole list, and I don't remember, of all the things that were being cut from Florida and their budget problems and certain things. And I said, if you believe in No Child Left Behind, then why are you cutting this? Why is education an important thing? Why is the federal government not hypothetically supposed to be involved in sending money to the states for our educational system? And that didn't make any sense to me, because education is very important, and it's one thing that needs to be fixed. And the whole point of my overtime protection, a lot of these things, I mean, we could even get into avenues. We were talking with some of the people that are working on this OT40. We were in a discussion in a private Zoom about why don't we eliminate taxes for teachers, because they are well underpaid, way underpaid. Some of them are $80,000 to $100,000 in debt. Why don't we eliminate taxes on teachers across the board until their loans are completely paid off, to give them that spot? I mean, we're at a point where, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, we have taxed people to death. Now we're in an inflation point where prices are going way up. I mean, if I was running for Congress right now and I was there, I'd be asking for a 90-day freeze on all products and goods in the country right now, because as we're going, they're only going to increase. And it's great, the daylight savings time thing that Marco Rubio and all them passed. That's not what I elected you to do. Great, all of you clapped and were happy that Democrats and Republicans work together.
That's what they chose to come across the aisle for today. Like,
Yeah.
literally, for those who don't know, today the Senate passed a bill to effectively end daylight savings time. This is the only thing they can agree on.
And it was unanimous agreement. It was a unanimous decision.
Yeah, and you've seen everybody behind was clapping and we're all excited. So as they're watching, literally, and we have facts now, because people companies file their taxes, the profit margins each one of these companies have made. Let's raise a box of cereal by $2. Mm-hmm. Let's raise gas $2 or $3, depending on what state you're in. The citizens. The Democrats, Republicans will catch on to my message, and they eventually will, on this overtime protection, because I dare any of them to debate me on it. And I don't care if it's a primary opponent. I don't care if it's my general opponent. Debate me on not protecting people's overtime. Debate me on not protecting people's 401ks, not tax after 65. That is your money you've earned and saved. And did the companies ask, hey, Josh, is it okay if we raise your box of cereal by $2?
No.
If you go to Walmart right now, my grandpa brought this up the other day, and he doesn't shop much, it's my grandmother. He says, Josh, I couldn't believe that everything seems like everything's $5. Everything's $5 inside, when we went into Walmart. And I told him, I was like, look, there needs to be a 90-day freeze on goods, because guess what? Just like COVID, a lot of companies took advantage of that. Guess what? They're taking advantage. It's like a double down. So we're in a double down effect. And until these discussions are had and made, I don't see candidates talking about it. I don't even know why we don't have a 90-day freeze on goods. So I mean, that's, if I was running for Congress, and even I was in state Senate, I'd be yelling right now on the top of my lungs, hey, let's that's one thing we can agree on. If you're going to say no to that, Democrat, Republicans say no on a freeze to products and goods for 90 days until we can kind of get through this war and see what's going on. And like I said, we're in a world economy, so a 90-day freeze would definitely help the country on food and products.
You sound like a globalist.
Oh,
Here comes the scary globalist.
globalism.
Mikey, you're up, sir. What are you? Oh, hi. No, Mikey's up. Let's get Mikey Famine. There he goes. Hi, Mikey Famine. How are you?
Yeah.
Yes, you're Mikey Famine.
So I just have this little quest that I'm on. I'm just trying to.
I wonder what this question could possibly be. I have no idea.
I just ask people sometimes and see if they can help me. I just have this mission to tax the church. What are your thoughts on taxing the church?
Oh, a small, like, for instance, I'm working, actually, now we're on church topic. I'm actually working with the Ukrainian church here locally, and we're actually going to a governor's meeting that is going to be in Parma, which in Parma, Ohio, it's one of the largest they call it Ukrainian village. And my city I live in is called the International City of Lorraine, with the steel plants that were here, and of course the 2 Ford plants was right in my territory here. We had an influx of Ukrainians, Puerto Ricans, Hispanics, people that came here, and we're expecting a influx of Ukrainians that are going to come into the area. Small level churches, of course. I don't want to tax to death a little Ukrainian church, but these mega churches, unreal amount of money they have coming in and are taxing. And not only that, they're running businesses through it. When your preacher's pulling up in an Audi and these mega listen, I'm gonna share this story. This is going to college, my family's religious, I'm not like go to church every week kind of guy. I'm not, that into it, but my family and my sister was going, and she had me, and my sister's friends were going. So I started going, to church, and it was one of these mega churches. First time I've ever been to one. It's big TV screens. You got 2 other churches connected with it and all this. And there was a fundraiser I wanted to do at the university I was at when I was a freshman, and I asked them if we could do a fundraiser with the doing a golf scramble. And the preacher said to me, "This is true." He said, "Are you a member?" I said, "Yeah, I've been coming here for like 6 months." I said, "I give like $5 or $10 in a little envelope and put it in the thing." And he's like, "No, are you a member, paid member?" I said, "Paid member? What are you talking about?" He says, "No, you got to pay a monthly or annual membership before I could have those discussions with you." I was like, "Oh my God."
Doing the work of the Lord. Real quick, hold on. I'm going to pause you there. All right. I'm going to put our resident Christian on the show. TJ, just respond to what he just said. How's that make you feel? Tell us what you're feeling.
It's heartbreaking to think that is what people think of Christianity. It's heartbreaking to think that we see these situations with mega churches and how much money they bring in, right? And the fact that they operate businesses, which is also not biblical in any way, shape, or form, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. It's heartbreaking to think that that's what people think of when they think of churches. And it's not just what Josh said on this particular segment. This is a conversation that's had with a lot of different people, and they feel like the churches should be taxed. I want to be really, really clear. I don't disagree. I think that mega churches should be taxed. I think when you have these small churches that have 30, 40 members who barely tithe consistently as is, I wouldn't tax them. But these mega churches, these Calvaries, these who's the other the dude with the hair? Joel Osteen. I absolutely agree that these guys should be taxed, and they should be taxed insane amount. The Bible teaches us, render to Caesar's what is Caesar's. That means if we owe taxes, you pay the taxes. And if you're driving up and you're pulling up in an Audi, if you're pulling up in
an Audi, I mean, these dudes.
But my point is, what preacher needs a mansion? What preacher needs a luxury car? Jesus didn't go around preaching in the luxury of wagons.
Who was that said, we need this fourth jet to minister?
Right.
And
that was Kenneth Copeland.
Oh God, that is that is the craziest on the spot abrupted interview anybody's ever done with anybody.
Yes.
Kenneth Copeland is
to deliver the gospel.
Kenneth Copeland. Look, Kenneth Copeland, Greg Henneman, to a degree. I'm going to forget his name. The guy from Orange County, Greg Laurie. He's not as bad as the other two. And Sid Roth. Joel Osteen is bad too, but like he's not as politically damaging as these other guys are. With the just this extreme right. Joel Osteen's not an extreme right winger, right? Like not at least outwardly. But those guys are extremely damning to the church. Greg Locke, these guys are the worst fucking human beings that there are. And honestly, I'm very disappointed in TD Jakes the last 5 years too, because he also has been spitting a lot of this rhetoric, and it's
I used to love
sad.
TD Jakes.
Yeah,
it's CDs and everything.
what makes it even sad is that these are the people that are shepherding churches. These are the people that are shepherding the flocks and are leading the flocks and supposed to be leading the flocks to eternal glory. The problem is these are who we look up, and this is why the Bible makes it very, very clear. And this is why I love the church that I'm a part of. Our preacher makes it very clear. You read the Bible, and if there's anything that I'm telling you that's incorrect, if there's anything that I'm telling you that does not line up with what you're reading, then we talk about it and we figure that out. Because if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and I have no problem whatsoever being corrected. I'm not above recourse.
Wait, you mean your pastor is a human being?
It's the craziest thing. You would actually
Oh my God.
be hard pressed. He is the most humble, and I'm not just saying that because he's my father-in-law. And believe you me, I would be the first person to say this is crap. But he truly is one of the most humble men I've ever met in my life. And that is what you expect from a servant. That's what a preacher is. That's what a pastor is. He's a servant. That's what an elder is. They're servants. The deacons are servants, and they live lives accordingly. And the fact that you have these mega churches who treat the Bible, who treat Christianity, who treat this as a business transaction is disheartening, discouraging, disgusting, and quite frankly, I would absolutely want no parts of it. So I am 100% in the corner of Mikey. I'd say tax the living crap out of these guys. Tax the living crap out of those mega churches.
50% over 250K. That's my proposal.
Yeah, I think that's good.
We have a question from the chat, Mikey.
All right. Speaking from the center's own Tim Bristol. How are you, Tim? Campaign finance reform.
Oh yeah, that's a mess. Like super PACs and all that. That's got to go. Like I feel like what's been great about the past with our social media the past 3 years is that, especially like even Nancy Pelosi right now, where she was gun ho on being able to mess with her stock markets, or candidates were able to funnel a substantial amount of money through these super PACs. So I'll give you an example. Like here, the candidate I'll be running against for a state Senate seat will spend $1 million to protect it, and the Republicans will fund, not just Republicans, Democrats do the same thing. They will fund it through these super PACs, and they will run these campaign articles and these campaign ads. I mean, the amount of money that is raised and wasted during a political season is unreal. That's money they can go feed people. Like what's also disgusting is that for me to even, if I was to go buy like 250 signs, which would be more than enough, for me, and maybe like 50 big signs, to put in yards. That disgusts me, because spending that money, I could have just went and helped and fed somebody. Right. If I can't use social media, I can't go knock on doors. Now, you sometimes need a little small palm card, so people kind of, contacting that. But I mean, there's people congressional people sending packets with 3 or 4 pages. And I know how much it costs to print, and it's completely water gloss. So if it was raining on it, it wouldn't mess up. It is unreal the amount of money that's spent, and especially if you're for, environmental stuff and that. I just think the amount of money that's spent in campaigns that can go to help and feed people, it's unreal. And the negative campaign stuff is also ridiculous when it comes to TV ads and things like that. And campaign finance reform has to be done. Citizens United and all those kind of things. So yeah, I definitely agree. Like I said, I'm part of the young generation that's not for the lifetime pensions. I'm for the term limits. I mean, there needs to be a set amount that you should spend as a Senate candidate. There just needs to be a set amount of money you should spend. People spending $1 million for a state Senate seat, I mean, that's crazy.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I appreciate your answers. So Josh, let's give Josh back the middle here, because I'm asking one last question. So I'm going to clip this down for you and put it on by itself on YouTube for you. Josh, so I want you to give us all the information on your campaign, tell people how they can follow you, but also as you do that, in about 90 seconds, what is the number one issue that you're going to drive for the people of Ohio specifically with your campaign? Go.
Well, the number one issue I'm going to drive is definitely overtime protection. I want to protect the workers' overtime pay. We are the Rust Belt state. We have a lot of manufacturing companies. I don't want you taxed after your 40th hour. I want to protect your overtime pay. I don't want you bumped in another tax bracket. I want to protect your bonus checks. Also, our teachers are being attacked right now. Their teachers' pension is overseas in Russia, $147 million in STRS. Scott Demora, the president of the OEA, needs to be responsible for this, explaining why that this money has been funneled. Also, my candidate, Nathan Manning and Gail Manning, which is his mom, they need to explain why this money has not been accounted for, why there's no teachers aren't understanding where their money's going. And also another thing is also protecting our water. There's 600,000 lead pipes in the state of Ohio that needs to be fixed immediately. And those are things I'm really concerned about. And then, of course, educational system that needs to be fixed. And that's where we bring in financial literacy, fixing the educational system so our kids know how checking accounts, how interest rates work, those kind of things. And then also, like, the biggest thing, like, state of Ohio, it's passed now, but we're not going to have legalized sports gambling. It's March Madness right now. And guess what? State of Ohio is missing on money because we got a bunch of people in office that aren't proactive. And then also legalization of marijuana. That's not there. That's another area that can raise money. And, you can contact me at Garcia for Ohio. My website will be up. It's going through a special program. And, but you can contact me at garciaForOhio@gmail.com or on Twitter, Facebook. Everything's linked. If you go to Ballotpedia, it has all my links from there. If you just put in Garcia for Ohio. And so that's my message. Protecting people's overtime pay, restructuring the educational system, protecting those 401ks. I don't think your 401k should be taxed. And another big one is our veterans, for them, disabled veterans not to be taxed on their property tax.
Perfect. And that is Garcia, the number 4, Ohio, for those on the audio listening later. So, Josh, we appreciate that. So everybody check out Josh's campaign. We don't usually have state level candidates on the show, but I really was impressed with Josh. So I made an exception for you, sir. You're very special to us.
So I did run for Congress in 2018 against Marcy Kaptur. She's the longest serving woman in Congress. And why I ran against her is because she voted no for the DREAM Act in 2010. She was short on the LGBTQ community. She was short on raising minimum wage. She supported the Keystone Pipeline, which I lived in South Dakota for a year. I did not want no Keystone Pipeline going through the Native American territory. And she did not want to debate me. And the party, got upset with me. Yeah. And the party was upset with me, but now I've built my connections with
So she was a Democrat. She was a Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were too progressive.
But now we all of a sudden support those ideas.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to ratcheting. So that's interesting. Okay, cool. So let's push forward here real quick. A couple of quick news tidbits. First and foremost, we have there's a news story. I just going to kind of touch on. It's kind of a silly story. So there's a news story that came out about a week ago. I just kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on it. Apparently, Elon Musk went on to Twitter and challenged Vladimir Putin to mortal combat, a physical fight for Ukraine. I was unaware that Elon Musk owned it. I'm a little interested to know what would happen if Elon Musk were to lose that fight. Because if Judo Master Putin defeated him.
If he KOs Putin, Ukraine will give it to him. Like if he just decks Buddy, he'll just give it to him.
Haas, look at this. We got the brand new edition, Little John Stone there on the show. Welcome to your first ever. TJ has got his newborn son. I believe it's TJ Johnson, the 17th.
This is Brandon.
Oh, let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, that's Brandon.
The older one is TJ Johnson.
The older one is TJ Johnson, the 17th. Yes,
yeah.
That baby.
He's looking at
side eye. Getting that side eye.
He's again, audio listener. This is classic. The baby's like giving dad the side eye, like, "What the hell are you doing? What you talking about, Willis?" That is awesome.
He's a cutie.
Thank you.
He is. He looks like his mom. Thankfully for him. But your thoughts, TJ, as a guest on the show. Elon Musk has challenged Vladimir Putin to a physical fight over Ukraine. he will do a babality on him if he wins. What are your thoughts when you see this? Is just Elon Musk just looking for publicity, or is he actually doing something good
I have
here?
no thoughts on this, Jason. This is no. I mean, it's just publicity, bro. Like, what do you want to say to that? Like, okay, yes, you guys go fight, and then at the end of that fight, what happens? Like, this come on,
Now,
bro.
now after he did this, did his stock go up or go down that day?
Right.
That's a good question. I didn't look into that. Big House, what do you think?
Mute it, homie.
He's on mute. There you go.
Mute. That's that old bullshit.
Right.
Let's just throw let's just throw something out there. You know, I would have my hand like this, like that's that bullshit right there. That's what I would be pointing at that ass. You know, I'm almost embarrassed that I have some of his stock for Tesla, but you know, you do what you
almost embarrassed.
Almost embarrassed.
Not too embarrassed, but almost embarrassed.
No, not too embarrassed. Enough, just enough where I'm like, damn, dude. You know how like when you want the people that you're riding with to act like they got a little bit of sense. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's like,
absolutely.
You know, I'm rolling with his Tesla stock and stuff like that. I want the guy to not look like a dingbat because I don't want the stock to go down.
Well, if he wins the fight and wins Ukraine,
but
you're going to be a rich man overnight.
Putin will spray him in the face with lysine or something like that.
Right. You think Putin plays when Putin plays hockey? People let him score. He ain't even going to let Elon Musk get a punch in. One of his guys will just shoot him as soon as Elon hits him.
No, it won't even be something like it'll be something to make him look good. He'll have plutonium dust on his gloves or something and just tap him in the eye.
If he dies, he dies.
He dies.
Right.
Mikey,
this is just,
Mikey, Josh, I want to hear what you guys have to say.
It's stupid.
Oh, isn't Elon Musk also? Isn't his SpaceX? Isn't there an American that's on the International Space Station that needs to be picked up, and the Russians are refusing to do it? I thought
it's possible.
Russian won't go to space.
While you look that up, I will say.
Yeah,
I will tell you this: if you guys don't think that Elon has a puncher's chance, you're crazy. Putin he's been playing softball and wiffle ball this whole time. He hasn't had any real competition. This is going to be Elon's first fight. He's going to come out squirrely. He's going to be a little nervous, but I think he's going to land. He's probably going to catch him with a straight left into an elbow of some sort, or some weird Joe Rogan kick, since that's fucking Elon's best friend. I think Elon's definitely got a puncher's chance. So I'm gonna risk the farm and bet $2 on Elon Musk.
He's gonna have Oberyn, what's his face from Game of Thrones, ready to fight for him, or Jake Paul. Yeah, Tyrell or Jake Paul. Yeah, I've got a proxy fighter here.
Yeah,
Josh, you get the last word on this one.
Oh, I mean, he's can definitely engineer things. Is he fighting with no shirt on, or is he fighting with his suit on? Because he's fighting with the suit on, he could, put some special device inside his suit, and I'm saying he's pretty flashy. He could, because we haven't explained, you didn't give me any criteria. He could be coming in with an Iron Man suit, SpaceX suit, something crazy.
That's a good point.
I know what I mean?
About that.
Oh, so Elon Musk, he's one of the Kingsmen now? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. He's just not allowed to talk about it.
And since Space Force is in our military, they're working. He's working on some military weapons for space and stuff. So I'd watch out.
He's gonna come out there looking like Master Chief.
What is TJ? What does young Brandon have to say about this? Who's Brandon got in the fight?
I'll let him tell you.
And your boy Putin gonna come out there, no shirt on a horse in the middle of the lake.
This is a man's man. Brings the baby on the podcast. I love it. All right, next real quick story here. This one will, and this is an interesting story because when TJ was still on the show, this story broke.
That was a long time ago.
About Juicy Smolier.
Juicy Smolier.
Yeah. So here's what I want to. Here's what I'm going to do. TJ, Big Haas, I want you guys to pretend that's Voice from the Underground 2018.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Give us the update, Big Haas.
All right. So, that lying motherfucker Juicy Smoulier, he done got himself out of jail pending his appeal. Now, that's you know, some people say it's because Lori is a member of the LGBT community, and so is Juicy. So she's, you know, pulling some strings to get him out while he's appealing, because most people don't usually get out while they're appealing. I'm not sure the percentages, but I would say it's in the minority. And my man has gotten out because they're pending an appeal. I don't know the tenets that they have filed the appeal on, but I just found it interesting that Juicy was able to Smoulier himself up out of there. And what could you possibly be appealing? They must be saying he couldn't find an impartial jury because his lie was so widespread. I mean, you know, they've said it best.
Get
Get
this dork
o'clock
off
in the
the
morning
train.
on a February night in Chicago to walk down the subway. Get the hell out of here,
Right?
man.
Come on, bro. Stop it.
And there's white people running
But
around.
TJ, you have to remember. This is so crazy because, like, who would think you've been gone from the show now for a year and a half, 2 years, right? Right before your first son was born. How old's your first son?
He'll be 2. He'll be 2 in April.
So it's been about 2 years, and this story we're still talking about it.
Still talking about Juicy.
They're still talking about him.
And then it come to find out he got Nigerian bodybuilders he paid to beat him up.
Yeah.
You know,
that's exactly what it was. You know what, bro? How do I put this delicately? This is very, very. It's sad that this is what we're wasting our tax dollars on. This is the fact that he's even got an appeal is ridiculous. Because again, what are you appealing? You can't appeal the process.
Anger translator. That's that bullshit right there.
It really is. It's ridiculous. And then I think what frustrates me even more is that you really had an entire city behind your back.
Mm-hmm.
Like when this story broke in 2018, whatever, we were all like, "Yo, this is real. This is crap. Like this is ridiculous." And you have real situations and real issues that are happening, and this is what we're focusing on. And this is what you choose to do with your 15 minutes of fame, because he was just riding high. He was off like second or third season on Empire. He was doing well. He was starting to record music. Like his status was starting to go up. And then you pull a stunt like this at a time like that.
Why? There's no point in it at all.
And it was to leverage more money from Fox for the show. Whatever your particular reason is, it doesn't change the fact that you picked a very poor way to force a hand, because then you're wasting resources, you're wasting time, you're wasting energy, and people don't forget. Like we don't forget that type of stuff. There's a very, 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 very small chance that anybody would forgive you for something like that, and it's just not feasible. It's not realistic, and it's ridiculous.
Right. And then when you factor in the fact that he was popular due to Empire, even within the black community, playing a gay guy. And if you know anything about the black community, you don't get down with the gay brothers that much. You know, a lot of, you know, I have that fight a lot of times with some people in my friend circle about being, you know, marginalized communities, you know, hanging out with it, you know, trying to support each other. And they're like, nah, son, nah. So when he did that, and everybody knew like it was BS from the beginning, it's like, see, not only are you, it was like the full Monty of negatives, because now when people talk about attacks, race-based attacks and things like that, oh, well, Juicy was lying, so you might be lying. Then, so that's the black community. Then you got the gay community. Oh, well, some gay person says they've been attacked. How we know? Juicy lied, you know. So you got all of these things factoring in that are based off of your freaking misplaced desire to be greedy.
Can I let me add a little excerpt from deadline.com. Following the decision earlier today by an Illinois appellate court to cut short the former Empire star's 150-day sentence pending appeal, Smollett walked out of Cook County Jail around 8 p.m. local time. Surrounded by members of his defense team, family, and other supporters, Smollett was silent as he exited the Chicago facility. Defense attorney Inye Uchi told the assembled media that his client only drank water over the past 6 days and ate no food whatsoever.
Oh,
poor thing.
So
we do not care.
The guy set back.
Who cares?
Was he getting the Martha Stewart treatment, or was he like in jail, like jail?
I think he was in
county jail.
He was in county. He was in county.
That Crook County boy,
California.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is he set back the fucking conversation.
Yes.
By a long time.
On many fronts.
And that is really the issue. I think that he didn't address the court, and I think that's one of the big problems is that he should have said, look, maybe he feels he did it for the right reasons because the one claim that he did that he says is legitimate was ignored. But just say, hey, you know what? I realized that I fucked up and I pushed the movement back 50% all by myself because no one's ever going to forget about this.
Nope.
And we're going to have to continue to fight this for a long fucking time.
If anybody does forget about it, I'll remind them.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you?
All right. So TJ, how long you got? I know you got to get back to the young one here.
I'm all right for right now. Don't you worry.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not. No, I just want to make sure that we're respectful because we know you're on the late night and got the baby. Last little quick story, if you would, Mikey. There's a last little quick story I want to talk about where Tucker Carlson. Do you want to play some of this, or do you want to just go into the comments? How do you want to do it, Mikey?
Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson continues to spark controversy over his comments about Russia amid its ongoing.
Is it me or is this whole dude's persona like on a gangster link?
His head looks off. His lining is off.
Now this is off. This is the only, just for reference, this is the only guy on Newsmax who's got any sort of ethics whatsoever. This is the guy who dropped. Remember, he ran off stage when My Pillow guy was talking all that shit and like talking about the election. He's like, we're not talking about this, and he left. He's like, I'm getting out of this lawsuit. He ran off the screen.
He angled that shit and fucking slid sideways like Gumby.
Yeah, he's got a 3 head on our left and a 4 head on the right.
He does. It's like a slanted one.
Take a listen.
And is it me or does every Fox News anchor female look this?
That's Newsmax now. That's Newsmax, not Fox.
Newsmax? Oh, they're following Fox.
Yeah, so they're gonna talk. They're gonna play a clip from Tucker here. So we'll listen to Tucker.
How could we possibly benefit from that war? We still don't know the answer to that question, but it is obvious that permanent Washington has been fixated on war with Russia for a very long time. They wanted a war, and now they have one.
Well, now,
why is he so in love with Putin? Does he want to be one of his favorite pets and get like a red pillow by his bed to sleep on?
Trying to get that trying to get that golden shower head cooked up.
Well, this is the reason why
RT money. He said Fox money ain't shit. I'm trying to get that RT money.
Right. And this is the thing. So I've been into it with some of these communists on Twitter who are on the far left, who are in the same camp as Tucker, right? And I'm not forgetting that those people are there. However, Mikey, if you would be so kind, what Newsmax does here is they bring a guest on who basically says Tucker Carlson should stop supporting Putin, right? And that he's doing American service, the American people a disservice, and rooting for someone who, Tucker Carlson, fucker Carlson said that Ukraine's not a democracy. Obviously, that's not true. He's just says a lot of shit that's not true. But if you look at the comments on this video, right? That is where the amazing stuff is. If you would, Mikey, would you please read us a few of these comments and let us know? The viewers must be against. They must be siding with far-right Newsmax here, aren't they?
Oh, I think I zoomed in too much. Okay, there we go.
Super zoom.
I'm in a taskbar somewhere and I'm lost. All right. I guess it doesn't matter which one I read, does it? Tucker has the stones to ask questions that Americans want answers to. He is not beholden to the right or left. These politicians and career government swamp creatures need to wake up and pay attention to why Tucker has such a following.
He sounds like Clayton Bigsby. You sound like Clayton Bigsby there.
That's exactly who I was thinking about as he was reading. I'm like Clayton Bigsby. Where are you?
All right,
Tucker calling your government out. That's his job.
That's from Mr. G.
Read that next one. Read the next one.
I could write a whole news article with historical facts to support what Tucker is saying.
That's what it's saying right there. Oh.
Really, dude? Really?
Josh, would you read that next comment for us by James, please?
James, I sub to Newsmax and not Fox because Tucker is one of the only Fox people to call things out. I agree with Tucker's assessment.
Don't worry. The next comment that TJ reads has to absolutely be anti-Tucker. TJ, what does Jossie have to say? Jossie Smolier
Jossie says, truth hurts. Tucker points out the obvious.
Do these people understand that the internet is awash with information that they could readily access to verify?
They did.
What the hell?
They found it.
Yeah, but isn't his stuff being...
Were they on DuckDuckGo?
Well, DuckDuckGo is not
the guy who gave us Clinton.
DuckDuckGo is not a right-wing website. Let me. DuckDuckGo has nothing to do with conservatism. I have DuckDuckGo.
They love it though.
They do, and I don't understand why. DuckDuckGo gives you the exact same content as every single other search engine. In fact, it comes from Microsoft. It's a Bing product.
No,
okay,
just get ours though. Just come to our brand of it.
It's ridiculous. Like I went through these comments. There was one comment on there that was anti-Tucker, and guess who posted it? Me. Out of like 800. It was ridiculous.
You commie scum. Wait a minute. You can't be a commie because if you're a commie, you'd agree with Tucker. Goddamn Muslim. You white Muslim.
White Muslim. I think you blew your load a little early there, Dutch, because we didn't even hear what they had to say about Tucker.
It's not even really all that important because they criticized their beloved king. We can play it. Go ahead. You can play it if you want to, but I don't think it's important. I really don't.
What's the clip with Representative Salazar?
I'm not sure about that one. What is that one?
That's the one with him and Tucker.
Amazing.
Yeah, play that clip with let's see. Find it. It's Tucker. It'll pop right up on YouTube when you look it up.
And Canadian Alleyman is asking us if any of those were Russian propaganda bots. Honestly, I don't think any of them were. I honestly don't believe any of them were.
Real people tweeting from their
heart.
Mobile homes, and some of them.
Yo, leave mobile homes alone. They ain't did nothing.
I think if you go to that site, and I'm willing to willing to fact check this. I'll go to that. I'll go back there. We can click on and see if those guys have like, an actual YouTube page set up where they have things that they follow. I guarantee you those 99.9% of them are real.
What's the over under on that?
50-1. I mean, I don't see it because that is how they feel.
Mr. G is totally a real account. Yeah, it's totally a real account.
Yeah. We're going through for the listeners and fact checking it right now. Can you play it while you do that?
Look at this homeboy rocking out with his guitar.
Yeah, that's a real one. So
So,
2 for
I
2.
got friends in low places.
Bum, bum, bum. But also,
whiskey flows, and we're all
You know what's
racist.
you know what's really triggering the right wingers right now is our friend TJ, who's being a good father and
Oh my
cradling his
God.
son. They're like, they're saying, where is the mother?
They're like this. He's a bot.
Yeah.
yeah, he's
Where's the
about-
mother? The mother's probably working.
Yeah. He's playing the good father between drug deals.
Yeah.
Gotta wash the baby. The cracks in the diaper.
Did you take a break from gang banging and playing video games, TJ? Is this your weekend, TJ? Oh, the baby's pissed.
That's the
Let me tell you something. There's only
on the show.
Can y'all stop irritating the child?
Please.
and TJ, I'm muting you whenever just so that the baby doesn't get too much airtime.
I hear a baby crying. I think that he's abusing that child.
I'm going to tell you right now. Most shows would be like, oh, that's unprofessional. Let me tell you something right now. I'm going to be real clear with you. There's one person in America who can have their baby on the show, and it ain't me, and it ain't Haas, and it ain't Mikey because he ain't having it. It's TJ Johnstone.
Lucy,
but you don't have a baby.
No, not a full, not a.
No, our kids come on, and they'll be on. They'll walk in front of the camera once in a while, but it's okay. Yeah. All right, so let's move on from here. In fact, let's go into.
We haven't played it yet. You wouldn't.
I thought you said you didn't. I thought you said you didn't want to. All right, go ahead and play it. Let's play.
Essential to use as much.
Let's see what triggered them so much.
Of broadcast of the popular Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who sharply criticizes the action of the United States and NATO.
Joining us right now to talk about this, former advisor to President Clinton.
And while they're introducing him real quick, they're saying that Russia is using Tucker talking points to propagate their narrative within Russia and saying, look, the U.S. is supporting us.
Russia has censored their own media and has approved Tucker Carlson clips to be played through the censored media,
right?
Then you know it's a crock of shit. That's how you know.
Yeah.
Oh, Ukraine is planning to use chemical weapons, and here's Tucker Carlson to confirm it. That shit don't sound right.
He's him and Tulsi Gabbard, amazingly.
Oh God, Tulsi's a mess.
I'm so disappointed, and I have always liked Tulsi. I've always said Tulsi's intelligent and beautiful at the same time. She's like the perfect woman, and now she's turned into, and she looks like Rogue from the X-Men, and she's turned into a fucking nut job.
Well, I tried to tell you that. That's
what you have to do to survive on that side.
I should have known, and Haas knows who I'm talking about here. I should have known when our mutual buddy Shamasha said Tulsi he would have voted for Tulsi. I should have known. He saw it in her years ago.
He caught the vibe a long time ago, just like I caught the vibe. And he liked the vibe, and I was, I'm good.
Hey, TJ, I like that curtain, bro. You're like you about to tell somebody's fortune.
All right. You guys want to get into the dig here, or do you want to play, or do you want to still want to play that? I don't think we need to play it.
I'm done trying to play it. You've talked over it 3 times, so obviously you don't want me to play it. You could have just
I honestly don't. Not the end of it. Not the end of it. I just wanted to read the comments. I don't want to give them any play.
He was like, "Yo, let's play it." All right. So now they're introducing him. So I paused, and then he was like, "All right, let me just tangent off into 80 things." You missed TJ. That's what it is. You can't even focus. You all over the place. Wheel it in there, Maverick.
Nah, I'm good. I'm Maverick. I'm zoned in. I got my Corona. Oh, by the way, real quick shout out today. So I went into I'm in San Diego right now, and I went into a brewery to talk to them about my job, what we do, because we do rigging, and they have the big tanks that they brew the microbrews in. And I went to this brewery. It's called Emboldened Beer Company in San Diego. I talked to one of the owners, Just went in there, had a nice chat with the guy. I just want to give him a shout out. He gave me a 4-pack of his IPA. It is called Clear Intentions West Coast IPA. This is a small microbrewery in San Diego. So go check these guys out. And I'm going to tell you right now, no bullshit. This is one of the best IPAs that I have ever had. It is not overwhelmingly hoppy, but it is hoppy. It has got this super crystally grapefruity, sort of like mango-y flavor. Let me see let me do my Haas's humidor.
Oh, here we go.
It is a tarty grapefruit orange. I mean, this is just sensational. There is no bitter aftertaste at all with this IPA.
That's what I don't like about. See, when you try like new microbreweries IPAs, that's the aftertaste is what gets me a lot.
Yeah, I don't like the bitter aftertaste.
You want a little, right?
Yeah,
like
little.
This does have a little. This does have a little, right? So I shouldn't say no,
Why do
but
we want a little? I don't understand.
you want a little bit because you want to have that taste on your. I just like I like the way it tastes on your tongue for a second, but what you don't want to have it do is be overpowering, where you're dreading the next sip. Right? This aftertaste is super, super subtle, and it's just like, hey, I know I'm drinking this still. You know what I mean? Like, so if you guys want to check this company out, and I never promote companies. Emboldened Beer Company, again, this is the Clear Intentions West Coast IPA, 7% alcohol by volume. The guy gave me a 4-pack of 16-ounce beers for free, for nothing. He just handed to me and said, these are for you. I did nothing for this guy. No idea who this guy is or if he's a good person at all. Sure, we won't talk about what I did. But I just gave him my card and said, hey, we're here to help you if you guys need help.
Was that
and he
when
gave
you
me
were
this? So
was that when you were pointing the gun at him? Is that why I gave it to you for free?
it was taser. I believe in tasers.
Hey, bro. Up the IPA, dude.
Give me that IPA. Actually, I offered to buy it, and I was like, "Look, what's your best IPA? I'll buy one." And he just handed me. Here, it's on me. So thank you to that guy. I don't remember his name. I have his card, but one of the owners. So check out Embolden IPA. Anyway, so with that being said, we will close off this half of the show, and then we'll come back in about a minute with the second half of the show where we do the dig. Real quick before we go, though, if you're listening to the show for the first time, or if you're not subscribed to the show, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Dig on America. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Twitch, follow us on Twitter at Dig on America. Make sure to follow Josh Garcia at Josh for Ohio.
Garcia
for
Ohio.
Garcia for Ohio. I apologize. Garcia for Ohio. And TJ, do you want to give out any socials for anybody? You want anybody to follow you? He's like, no, hell no, don't follow me. I'm not in the public eye anymore. I left Voice from the Underground.
Send onesies.
Send
me some onesies and some wipes.
You can send onesies, wipes, size 3 to 7 diapers. Those are great.
I want to make sure that we get this in. Okay, I want to make sure we get this in because TJ and I have been on a show or Mikey and I have been on a show with TJ before. So I'm going to remove me, Mikey, and Josh from the stream for a second. Haas, I just want you to kind of talk to TJ for a second, tell him, what this man means to you, that sort of thing. So I'll see you in a bit.
Wait a second.
Profess your love, mother F.
Pump the brakes.
What just happened?
Right.
What is
that? We just want you to talk to TJ for a second.
All right. So what's Brandon's middle name, dude?
Brandon Marquise.
Marquise with a Q?
Yes.
You didn't go crazy and go K-E-E-S-E or something like that?
No, nothing like that, bro. Nothing like that.
Okay. You got to look like you got a good grade of hair there, too.
Better than mine. That's
hey. Now you got to figure out the kink factor every month. You got to do a reassessment.
He doesn't have the kinks, bro. He's got curls. He's got legit curls. He's got his mama's hair. I'm grateful.
Okay.
I'm super grateful for that.
That's cool.
Man. Yeah, bro.
That's cool. He seems pretty well behaved.
You know what? He needs to take a poop. That's the problem. That's his issue. He's backed up. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Give him some of that prune juice.
You know, we've been putting it in his milk. He ain't ready yet, but it's gonna come.
Oh, hey. Watch out for the up the backer. Watch out for the up the backer. That poop will be by his neck.
It does, bro.
Dude, how's work?
Man, the work is good, man. Work is all right, bro.
Okay.
I see you guys are still trucking along, man. That's pretty cool.
Still
bro.
trucking along. I was training today, so that's why I'm on later. Because I have baseball and softball teams to train. So
that's what's up. That's what's up, man.
Just keep doing it. The kid's getting big.
That's what's up.
Lucy thinks she owns the place.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, my
at
daughter will be 11.
At a robust 6 years old.
Right. My daughter will be 11 this year. So where's the time going, bro?
How's she doing? Y'all still doing the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's usually with us for the summer, and I have her on spring break, so I'll get her in a couple weeks, and it's all good, man. Life is all right.
All right. I'm glad to hear it. Well, it sounds like that poop might be matriculating its way down the system.
Nah, it sounds like he wants it to. That's the problem.
Yeah. All right, man. Dutch, let this man handle his kid.
Yeah, bro.
Hey, I just wanted to give you guys a second to have a minute a minute alone without everybody else on you. But hey, TJ, brother, you can stay as long as you want. We ain't kicking you off. You can stay as long as you want. But I just want to tell you thanks for coming on.
Get this baby
and you
out
and I think I speak for Mikey and Haas when I say, you're an original founding member of the club.
Oh, that's
right.
So, you're welcome back anytime that you want, brother. We miss you profusely.
The king of the north.
Appreciate
I'm coming
that,
on
man.
tonight. I'm coming on tonight. All right.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, it's the only problem is y'all record so dang on late, bro. You gotta remember, I'm up at 2 a.m.
Right.
I keep telling him,
work for me.
We got to do something.
But
Haas has this funny thing. He has a job. We just can't get him off his job. He won't stop working.
I get it.
Hey, Mikey, go ahead and give him the Patreon so he can get me off this job.
I get it, man.
Yo, I'm gonna need y'all to go. I know you got your refund checks. Quit playing.
Right.
Go ahead and go to patreon.com/DigOnAmerica. Let's go.
Guys, I appreciate the open invitation, and I'm very proud of how far you guys are continuing to push it and how far you guys are going, and I'm excited for your future. I'm very, very grateful to have been a part of it. I'm very, very grateful for you guys' friendship and your camaraderie. Even years later, being off the show for the last couple of years, and it's like, it's almost like it never happened. It's like we're all still there. So I'm very, very grateful.
Right back up. That's what real friends do.
That's right. I'm grateful for the
We're almost at 5 years now, man.
That's insane.
Crazy.
Remember when we started this, there was never any thought that we would be going 5 years. We never thought we'd make it to 100 episodes. And here 5 years later, a whole rebrand, cast members coming and going, brother. It's changed. I almost feel like it's like one of those groups like the Drew Hills and where you have the cast members coming in and coming out. And,
like New Edition.
Like New Edition, right? Like, I'm gonna step away for a bit, then I come back. It's
like he's Johnny Gill.
The point,
damn it.
The point is, I'm very, very grateful for you, gentlemen. I'm grateful that you guys always welcome me back every time, and anytime that I can, I will. I promise that.
All right.
Beautiful, brother. All right, man. Go take care of that bait. Let's go, Brandon.
It was nice meeting you, TJ.
Hey, Josh, I'm not typically one for politics, and these guys will tell you that was the one thing I really didn't do. But I'm very encouraged by our conversation earlier and hearing your platform and hearing what you stand for. And I pray that there's a way to bridge the divide between the left and the right, and that we can kind of figure this out and help everybody, not just the ones who don't deserve it, but just help everybody. So I'm excited for your future, brother. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, brother. We'll see you later, brother TJ. And with that, Mikey,